I mean, we were out there with your team Saturday morning, preparing for people to make the run to 16. And at 5:30, it was like 38 degrees.
Oh, my gosh.
Dumping rain.
Yeah.
And there's 6,000 people lined up.
Running
and
of the
you
bulls.
just can't believe that the demand, is that incredible.
Welcome to Shop Talk with Chief Jeff Walther and Sergeant Allison Sempsis.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest edition of, what show are we doing today, Allison? What is it?
Shop Talk.
I have so many other shows inside the PD. Sometimes I forget what shop it is. What show it is. It's either Shop Talk or Chief Talk or Ask the Chief. But episode 38, Allison, and we are in a totally different location. Today we're coming to you from Toro Restaurant at the TPC.
It's beautiful.
Tournament Players Club. In law enforcement, we love our TLAs, our three-letter acronyms. So we love the TPC. So Tournament Players Club. We're here in Toro, and so Steve has got us on location today, which is I don't know. It's a little discombobulating for you and I because we're used to being in the podcast room, And
it's beautiful, but I just
beautiful.
miss my
It is
headphones.
beautiful. Steve's going to have some great photos of our location and where we are today, and so I think it's pretty awesome. Before we get to it, I'm going to tell you I'm going to have Matt Mooney on with the Thunderbirds, and we're going to start talking about the WM Phoenix Open, and I will tell you before we get into that, I'll get into that. We'll get into that pretty extensively with Matt. But I like to start out the show of, we're recording this in December for a January debut prior to the Open, and so very excited about that. But hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving.
It went by so fast.
In Las Vegas, I understand. So
no big deal, big classy family.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing when the entire family and all the kids think, hey, what's a good idea? Let's go to Vegas for Thanksgiving. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with street people in Vegas?
There's
and a
more
bunch
to
of little
Vegas
kids
than just street people.
If you're from the Vegas Visitor and Tourism Bureau and you happen to hear this, don't send me any hate mail. I get enough hate mail as it is. Just, adding.
And you
had a good time.
respond back to them,
I do,
Chief.
I do respond. I do respond back to some of the hate mail if it's very personal, which I think the last one was.
It went over very well, though.
Somebody called me. I think they called me dirty, rotten. I think there were a couple.
They were
other
just
things.
angry on
shady.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, shady. Shady was the term that I liked the best.
It's seriously, a 3 a.m. email. They had too much to drink on Thanksgiving and just were like.
So, I always give a shout out, get on my soapbox about, we just came through Thanksgiving. We're approaching the Christmas holiday, and yet I still see all kinds of people that we wind up arresting or getting stopped for road rage. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to talk about during the holiday season. But imagine your car full of some beautiful Christmas presents that you just bought for your children or your grandchildren, and now you're flipping people off on the freeway. And so, just a reminder, everybody, it's the spirit of giving and love and understanding. And so, let's try to do that on the roadway, so that my folks in the PD aren't responding to every manner of road rage incident. And remember, I have said this before, if you find yourself actually pulling off the roadway and you fancy yourself to be a pugilist and a Pier Sixer's going to erupt in the squared circle on the side of the highway.
Oh my gosh.
You've probably made a bad decision about getting out of your car because somebody cut you off or you cut somebody off. So just as a reminder, let's treat each other well this holiday season. So
Our special guest today is a husband, father of 3, a COO at Parkway Property Investments, and the Thunderbirds tournament chair. Please welcome Matt Mooney.
Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Matt Mooney of the Thunderbirds because he has the distinction coming out of last year of being the chairman for the tournament this year. Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, I know people are on the edge of their seats. They're going to talk about, what's he going to talk about? Yeah. What are the changes going to be? And I know Allison always crafts some pretty awesome questions, except this time, because I'm like, Allison, you're not asking any tough questions of Matt, because I know Allison says no, but I got tough. I continue to get tough questions about what's the PD doing. We'll
Right.
get into all that.
Happy
But
to.
thanks for being here. Thanks
My
for meeting us
pleasure.
at Toro and kind of with a beautiful backdrop of everything being built.
Yeah.
For the tournament. This year. It's actually next year, the 2025 tournament. But I'm looking at it. I haven't been up since the Open ended early in this year, and when I pulled into the parking lot, I was like, I kind of got a little queasy, a little nauseous. I'm like, oh my God, is it that time already?
Right.
And so it's great to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me, and this is a great use of my time to be on a podcast with Scottsdale PD because there wouldn't be a Phoenix Open without our incredible
Thank you.
partnership
I appreciate that.
with you guys. And obviously we meet with your team every week, have for a long time. And so it's a coordinated effort for year round, really. And we're grateful for our partnership with you guys. But so I grew up in the Southeast, Florida, Mississippi, moved to Phoenix in January of 2006. Actually, arrived in Phoenix with my wife on a Friday night in late January of 2006, and it was actually Phoenix Open weekend.
Oh, wow.
And our moving truck had not arrived, and so Saturday we didn't have anything to do. We just had our vehicles and no belongings, and so we came to the Phoenix Open, which had been a lifelong dream of mine. Walking into the main entrance area, somebody walked up and gave us 2 general admission tickets, and we were like, we thought we'd hit the lottery. We didn't have 2
That's
nickels
awesome.
to rub together. And so my first memory of Phoenix literally was Phoenix Open
That's
weekend
great.
2006, which is cool. And I didn't have any perspective then on the magnitude of this event, really what it means to this community. And so to be a part of it now as a Thunderbird, I became a Thunderbird in 2016. So this will be my 9th Open. It's just been a great journey, and seeing the impact of this on the community is what really makes it so special.
That's awesome. So you have a pretty significant golf background.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I played golf in college at Mississippi State, SEC school, and very competitive, obviously, in the Southeastern Conference with Florida and Kentucky and some really powerhouse golf programs. And so it was a great experience for me. I wasn't a great college golfer by any means, but I enjoyed my time.
Well, you did play college
Obviously
golf,
you were
so
good
you were
at it. Yeah.
it was fun. And I will tell you, the opportunities that have come for me personally through business and just in friendships through golf has been fantastic. And so all of those 5:30 a.m. workouts and cold 35-degree rainy day qualifying is worth it for what's come after that. And it really is helpful, I think, in this role, just because we obviously are throwing an event that's much bigger than golf, but at its core we've got to throw a great golf tournament, and I care about the golf too.
Well, I appreciate that level of humility that you have. Allison has none, so you and I hear a lot of humility that we bring to
Yes.
this to this podcast. So it's good. We're going to overpower Allison on this one. I think it's amazing. I love one of the things I love most about doing this podcast and the people that we've had on is everybody has a really cool story. And when you come in here, no furniture, no nothing, you're like, I'm going to go to the tournament.
Yeah.
Right. It's like one of the first days you're here, not having any idea that 18 years later you're the tournament chair.
Right.
That is
That's
so
crazy.
cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Right. That is
Yeah.
just.
You know what? It's such a Phoenix story to me as well. Like, we all live in the valley here, and there's not many places where you can show up and not know a soul. And I tell my kids this all the time, if you do what you say you're going to do, you treat people with respect, you look them in the eye, your word is your bond, and you really want to make a positive impact in this community, you can do that. It's not like a lot of other places where people care about who your dad is or where you went to high school, and so it does feel really full circle to have that our first weekend been Phoenix Open, and now being
that's
awesome.
pretty cool.
9 years though.
9
oh my
years,
gosh,
right?
that's crazy that you've been involved in it 9 years.
It's been a run. Yeah. I can
So
see
what
why.
other? We always like to ask. Now that you're tournament chair, what other roles have you participated in it with the Open?
Yeah, so my rookie job was signs. So back in the when I started, we actually
That's
still,
a job. We didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked to anybody about that.
We used to actually hang a lot of the signs, so we'd have to walk with fire and make sure that everything met permitting requirements, and so pretty quickly after that, we fully outsourced all of it. But I think I was one of the
want
last.
that job.
It was like a quasi-hazing job, I think.
I want to walk I want to walk the grounds and just worry about the signs.
Yeah.
That's a good job.
Exactly.
Got to stay.
Yeah, I was probably out here 100 hours before the tournament hanging signs. And so I was like, what did I say yes to? But that was one. Tickets and banking, so got some real exposure to the front entrance with that. Obviously, we've made some front entrance changes this year, which we'll talk about later.
Can't wait.
Player liaison was probably the coolest job I had. So there's 2 guys each year, and you're essentially the liaison for all the players and caddies for anything that they need over the course of the week. And so if you're a golfer, it's really cool because they all have your cell phone number, and it'll be like, hey, this is Justin Thomas. Can I get 2 Bird's Nest tickets or whatever it is? And so you're really focused on hospitality and making sure they have a great week. And then obviously last year was assistant tournament chairman, getting ready for this year.
Wow. So when we talk about the Open, I mean it's an animal in and of itself, but the Thunderbirds, and what an amazing civic organization. So there's a lot of great civic organizations out there. How did you find the Thunderbirds and then say, you know what, that's for me, that fits who I am and my principles?
But I think even talk about like what the Thunderbirds are, because most people don't know. So.
Yeah. Well, the Thunderbirds are a civic organization founded in 1937 by Bob Goldwater, and really the focus of the group was to promote the Valley of the Sun through sports. And so the construct of the group, which was created then, which still exists today, is there would be 55 active members. You'd be active until you're 45 years old, and then you become a life member. And
I knew you were going to say that. So I'm going to like, well, I guess I
walked right into that one.
Since I'll be 55 next year, I'd be out of a decade already. Thanks, Allison.
Yeah.
So
You're done.
Appreciate the age shout out.
Right.
Great job, Matt.
Right. Well, yeah, awesome. But there's a lot of wisdom that comes with those next 10 years too. Yeah. So that was the construct of the group, and to their credit, Bob Goldwater had extensive relationships in golf, Bob Hope and Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, and so they started the Phoenix Open, and that essentially, there's been other events that they hosted through the years. We still host a lot of junior golf tournaments. We just hosted the NCAA championships a couple years ago here at Greyhawk, but far and away, it's all about the Phoenix Open now. It's become a year-round, undertaking, and the biggest thing that we hope people really understand is that everything that we do is to benefit charity, and all the proceeds of this event go back to charities. And for me, it's my life's busy enough. I've got 3 kids and career, but the thing that makes this worth the extra effort is to be able to see the impact it has on this community, especially.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that all the money went back to charity afterwards. I had no idea.
And it's a lot of money.
We just last year $17.5 million to almost all Arizona-based charities, and then over $200 million since the tournament was started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now Chief, you can get into the tough questions.
No. I was gonna say.
Nope.
I was gonna leave one of the softball ones for you.
Oh,
how do they pick you? I know you were. You were assistant tournament chair last year. They've got to look at, the 55 members and say, because let's be honest, the Thunderbirds is an amazing, amazing group, but they're like, who's going to be the assistant chair or the chair?
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So you're essentially selected by a group of past tournament chairmen, and then after your tournament chairman year, you're the big chief, which is essentially the president of the organization. And so it's to your point, it's a 3-year commitment, because you're assistant tournament chairman for a year, tournament chairman for a year, and then the big chief for a year. And so it's an incredible honor. Obviously, it's a big time commitment, and you need a great wife who's supportive like I have, and we
were just talking
great
about that
kids.
earlier, yes.
And so, but at the same time, as much time as it takes, the payback, exactly like we were talking about a moment ago, to see it and the impact it has in this community makes it all worth it.
Awesome.
In addition to the charitable piece, I mean, the other thing about this event, ASU did a study 2 years ago, and this this tournament now generates $500 million in annual economic impact to the community, and so that's pretty incredible. We all get to see it and know how many people use this as an excuse to come visit Scottsdale in February, and we couldn't be more proud to be the host for that.
I tell anybody that'll listen, like this, like Saturday of the Open rivals NASCAR. You know, I mean,
totally.
And it's just I say it. Well, it's a single. It's the biggest single day sporting event on that Saturday.
Yeah.
And then obviously the largest golf tournament, single largest spectator attended golf tournament in the world.
Right.
Which is amazing, and that right here, you know, in the Valley and in Scottsdale is absolutely amazing.
No doubt.
Amazing. So, you know, you talked about the kind of the 3 years, you know, as you move through kind of these very big jobs. Do you ever get to the point where, like, you know, as soon as they pick you for that first one, you're like, no, please no.
I want to go back to doing signs.
Yeah. Come on, I want the signs.
Yeah, exactly.
Do signs again.
Yeah, there's been a couple days where it was like, wow, this was a big commitment, and you kind of have an idea, but at the same time you kind of don't, you know. And last year we talked about the weather. I mean, obviously we dealt with, you know, really, really unusual weather for Phoenix.
Wednesday, Thursday, I've never seen it.
Has it ever been that bad before with the weather, raining
I mean, there's been some bad weather years. I don't know that we've ever seen that type of precipitation.
I've been, you know, I started with the PD, Scottsdale PD 30 years ago. Go easy, Allison. 30 years ago, and started working the Open in one capacity or another every year since then. And I've never seen it rain that much.
Yeah.
It was so cold
over that period of time. So Wednesday, Thursday, we looked at that. I was out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are the days that I go out because by the time you get to Friday, Saturday, it's madness. Yeah. And so, I had never seen it rain that much and for that long over that 2-day period, and to really kind of cancel, you know, play on Thursday and then the Pro-Am. It was just, we wondered, like, what's this going to look like? Yeah. Because, you know, for our listeners out there, really like, well, it just rained 2 days. What about the other days? Well, got to appreciate that we're dealing with grass.
Right.
You know, the greatest show on grass. And and in Arizona, when you get that much rain, you know, it makes the conditions, not necessarily the course, but all the walking areas that are outside of the sidewalks become mud.
Yep.
And so that's when we get the, you know, people who've had too much to drink. Yes, it does happen. Who then wind up, you know, creating their own body slides.
Yeah.
Some of the berms. And so.
It's a stadium built golf course. And, you know, what that means is it was designed and built to accommodate these huge crowds, which is why we have the crowds we do. Only problem is, to your point, all those beautiful grassy hillsides people sit on most years turned a little sloppy. So we're past it. It'll be 72 and sunny all year this year. I've got it.
Yep. You heard it here first. If you have issues with that, Matt Mooney, 2 O's. Please, you can reach out to him. I am absolutely. You know, you can yell at both Matt and I, because I agree. It's going to be 72 and sunny every day. It's going to be beautiful.
What is it normally? Like, what was it in past years? Is it really 72 and sunny?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Yeah.
It really is.
You have some years that it's been, you know, cold and a little bit rainy, or last year a lot rainy, and then you've had times where it was warm.
Right.
And we were worried about our fire partners were really started to deal with people who were overheating.
Yeah.
And so dehydration and
the sun all day drinking.
I think that perfect window is like that 68 to 72 window.
Sign me up.
You know, even if it's a little cloudy, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Let's
hope for that. I know. Yeah, it's a testament to the event that, I mean, we were out there with your team Saturday morning, you know, preparing for people to make the run to 16, and at 5:30 it was like 38 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Dumping rain.
Yeah.
And there's 5,000-6,000 people lined up.
Running
and
to the bulls.
You just can't believe that the demand, is that incredible.
Hi everybody, Sergeant Pitt from the Scottsdale Police Department K-9 Unit. This is K-9 Booker. Just a friendly reminder that no animals are allowed inside the venue except for service animals and or police dogs.
So let's talk about last year, you and I, because you were the assistant chair last year, and I was the chief.
Yep.
So you and I now this year as you become the chair, and I'm still the chief.
Yep.
We get a lot of questions, right? And so after that Saturday of the Open earlier this year, boy, I got more questions, and I'm sure you did as well, about, Allison's group in our community engagement section was getting blown up by media requests and, will the chief speak? Well, what's going on? And it was the strangest thing, because then I heard, officials not connected to the tournament, but people from around the state, weighing in and talking about poor behavior and the alcohol, and I just was, I'm going to be straight up with you. I just chuckled about it.
Yeah.
And so when the questions I got, and I got some questions in the city and from some of our elected officials about, hey, this is what I'm seeing in the media.
Mm-hmm.
What's the truth of it? And I said, well, the truth of it is that we had, I think for the tournament, we had historic rain on Wednesday and Thursday. And then those people who wanted to go Wednesday, Thursday, well, then they wound up going Saturday. Or Friday, but probably primarily Saturday. And with the grounds being so saturated, I said, it turned into a little bit of a mud bowl. But let's be honest with each other here and not blow this out of my take. If you have a different take, absolutely, let's talk about it. But I'm like, let's not blow this out of proportion. This is typically in the 30 years that I've worked it. This is a lot of people having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Great food, great drink, great atmosphere, great golf. Oh yeah, great golf.
Right.
With a lot of celebrities, and it's an amazing event. And sometimes people have too much to drink, and when there's mud and mayhem, then we make a few more arrests than we normally do, or we make more ejections than we normally do because of the press of the crowd.
Yep.
Or this year, we also wound up closing the entrance and shutting down some of the alcohol sales near the general admission area because we were getting too many oppressive bodies.
Yeah. That's
a decision made in connection with the PD, fire department, Thunderbirds, PGA, our security partners. Were like, better part of valor to shut this down. To allow that press to alleviate. That's our jobs. Is what you should expect from your public safety apparatus and your partners here to recognize those things. But can you talk about it from your perspective and all the brouhaha related to more arrests or that weather?
Yeah, I appreciate your comments, and it's nice to have someone who has 30 years of experience and has seen it every year, provide that context, because I think the hardest part for us as an organization was you don't ever want to make an excuse, right? And so you kind of own the things that we feel like we could do better, and you want to make sure that you do a proper kind of self-reflection on the year and say, okay, what are the tweaks that we should make? But I think exactly to your point, I mean, the biggest challenge was we just had unprecedented weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
But continued sort of unprecedented demand despite the weather. Mm-hmm. And so the confluence of those things made it tricky. I think it also shows you a lot just about kind of the world and social media and how things can quickly just spiral, and so I'll give you one kind of real world example. We tournament finishes on Sunday. Obviously there was some social media and some feedback about player interactions with fans. And so the Tuesday after the tournament, 48 hours after, Chance Cosby, our executive director, and I were in LA meeting with the Player Advisory Council, who was there for the next PGA Tour event at Riviera. And our goal was really just to get in front of them, listen, make sure we kind of separated, what's a real issue from what's blown out of proportion. And the good thing was the feedback from the players was overwhelmingly positive. I mean, they all looked at it and said, you guys were dealt with unprecedented weather.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And so they encouraged us, look, you can make a few little tweaks, but don't change the fabric of what has made this an event we all love. And I think it was good for us to get that feedback that early in the process as we were kind of beginning to plan 2025 and the tweaks that we wanted to make, to say, yeah, let's make tweaks. Let's make sure that just like we would any year, we look at what went well, what could have gone better, but let's don't change the fabric of what has been.
And that's why people come to watch it. I mean,
it is.
They enjoy
from around the world.
Yeah,
it's
and
amazing.
they enjoy the party atmosphere.
I mean, we've been PGA Tour Tournament of the Year 5 times in the last decade. We're far and away the biggest event on the PGA Tour, and it's amazing how many people we talk to that host clients from all over the country. And they say to us, there's 2 events people want to go to: the Masters and the
Open,
and the
That's
Phoenix
awesome.
Open.
Yep.
And I've even had a few of them say they want to go to the Masters once, they want to go to the Phoenix Open every year. And so, we're not gonna kind of overcorrect and move away from the fabric of what's made this so successful. And we wouldn't have that much confidence. Again, I'll give a shout out to you guys, if it weren't for our ability to work with professionals like you all that give us that context that you just gave the listeners about what is a big deal, what isn't, and how do we kind of filter through those things.
Exactly, and thank you for that. It's interesting when we talk about, you talk about what little tweaks, you're going to make, but maintaining that very important fabric of the tournament. But what I think people don't appreciate, and how we get to those tweaks, is all the time that you and your staff and the Thunderbirds and my staff and the PD, my principal planners in the PD, my incident commanders for both the tournament and the Bird's Nest, and then our fire department component and outside security partners, how long that planning takes every year and when we start that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you this year as an example. I mean, we immediately met after the tournament. And, first of all, during the tournament
ends, next meeting.
That's crazy.
next
You don't
year
even
is
have
right
time
after.
to breathe.
No,
It's just
and that's the thing. It's funny because I've had a few people ask, like, well, I guess you're getting really busy, with the tournament. And I've kind of chuckled because I'm like, it actually is almost less busy now than it was,
Right
late
after.
spring, summer, early fall, when you're really having to make those big critical decisions. But, we start every day of the tournament with a meeting with PD, PGA Tour security. We're obviously constant communication with you guys, your teams in and out of our office in the trailer all day, every day. And then immediately the next week we go into, okay, let's recap 24. Let's start planning 25. And we've had a weekly meeting every week since March at Scottsdale PD.
Oh my gosh.
And so, that's the scale of this event. It's a 52-week-a-year event to plan. And it's honestly, though, it's really fun. If you care about it, you want to get it right, and your team cares about it, we care about it, and we all have so much of our success tied up in the execution of this event and together. And
Absolutely.
So it's that shared importance that makes it really fun.
We're going to succeed together, or we're going to go down in the same ship together.
That's exactly right.
So, it is amazing, and I will tell you, just since I started in the organization in 1994, and then all the stop it, Allison. I already see her snickering. I think in 1994, Allison was probably 13 years old and playing the saxophone at band camp. So, and for those of you who want to send me an email, I do have a picture of that.
It was not the saxophone, Chief.
I got one word for you: bangs. Okay, but anyway,
They were cool back then.
But the amount of time that we spend, and like I said, since 1994, is that I just see this as normal, right? And the idea of the resources that PD and FD that we throw at this event and other events. Let's be honest, Scottsdale is a major events city.
No doubt.
We put on a lot of special events, and so I have some of my peers around the valley and some around the country who are like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want that in my city.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, I look at it exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it's in our city, because we have become really, really good at public order events, right, and crowd control and planning major events. And so it's great. And that partnership, doing it, with each other. And for those people that don't understand, that are our listeners, is that not only is Scottsdale PD responsible for the primary security footprint, and then our partners in the fire department as well on the medical side, but I leverage relationships with all my other Valley agencies, both state, local, and federal agencies that we bring in literally to support the entire operation. So those of you who are out who'll see the course and watch it and say, hey, why are bike teams from Scottsdale and ASU and Chandler and Tempe, and Mesa, just on and on, those are the relationships that we bring to bear to bring more people out there. I remember a time where Scottsdale PD alone did the entire footprint of the Open, but it has grown so massive that on inside the tournament, the Arizona Department of Public Safety is my primary partner in providing law enforcement security. But it's amazing how much it's grown.
It's incredible. Yeah, and I think a couple things you just commented on. One is it's amazing to me. I mean, we spend all of our year planning the Open. You guys also have Barrett-Jackson, Arabian Horse Show, spring training. So
tour to Scottsdale, on and on, and a parada.
It's like every weekend there's something in Scottsdale.
Some of the media kept saying, like, oh my gosh, why were there so many other departments out there? Did you guys know it was going to be like this year? It's been like that.
It's been like that.
Yeah. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, we
I don't
tap
understand.
into our partners. Bird's Nest. People, I think Bird's Nest often gets forgotten, even though we bring in 25,000 people.
Right.
It's is my number right? Is it 25,000?
So it's a little over 10 a night.
It's 10 a night.
But
it's 25,000 at the kickoff concert.
Concert at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
But the the scale of if you took the golf away from it and just were throwing the Bird's Nest, that'd be a huge event.
Yeah.
And then to your point, now you had the concert in the Coliseum, and it's pretty amazing. To your point on the growth, I think you look at the move to this tournament in 1987, or to this golf course in 1987, and to the city of Scottsdale, started just this hyper growth. And then you throw Tiger Woods making a hole-in-one in 1997 on the 16th hole. Awesome. Now the 16th hole becomes a bucket list item.
And we had the hole-in-one, 2 years ago?
Yeah, Sam Ryder. Yeah, unbelievable.
Amazing. Right. Your predecessor. We actually were live on that.
He's still
talking,
still
and it made golf. I think it was Golf Digest top 7. Viral moments.
Yeah. Oh,
it was so cool.
It was incredible. I mean, just completely electric. And now CBS is doing the deal where they are down on the 16th tee. That was their first year to do that, and then they make the hole-in-one. And so
awesome.
This event is generating just such incredible
It's
content.
So funny. We always talk about the 16, right? But you've watched in your time with the Thunderbirds, and certainly my time with the city, watch all the other holes grow, right? Yeah. I remember backside of the course and there's nobody there, right? And now today, every part of the course just has people all over it.
Yeah.
And I will show my peers from around the country, and I speak at different conventions or conferences, and I'll just show a picture of the 16 on a Saturday.
Oh,
just that.
Yeah.
And usually my peers will be like, no, I don't want. I'm like, that's just one part of the course that we're responsible for. And that's why those partnerships, and our listeners are going to hear me talk about partnerships over and over and over again. I mentioned the Bird's Nest. And the Bird's Nest in 2025, going to be busy, great headliners, some great stuff coming. But my primary partner at the Bird's Nest is Mesa PD. It's like, because I throw so many of my people, and it's I cancel that week. Nobody can take vacation. You can't be gone. It's all hands on deck, and so it's really tapping into those partners. And the Thunderbirds have just been such an amazing partner in this.
That's good to hear. We feel incredibly fortunate that we've been able to throw this event, and we've touched on our relationship with you guys and Fire, and I'll also mention, there's several thousand volunteers. It's incredible the number of people that that a lot of those fly in from other parts of the country just to be here and volunteer.
No,
amazing.
Yeah, and so
even the officers from different departments, they come out.
They absolutely love it.
They do.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. It's none of the other cities really around us, save maybe Phoenix, but even them, you just don't have events this big over this large of a space. It's different than we had the Super Bowl, and we jokingly and lovingly, for my West Side people, we lovingly say that the game is over there,
right?
But all the events really are between Scottsdale and Phoenix,
right?
Exactly. And so with the Open, it's people, officers and but state level, county level, federal level, certainly all of Scottsdale PD. It's an event. It's an experience.
It is.
It's an experience. So, we've talked about the partnerships and people flying in from all over the place, and the fabric of the the tournament. Let's talk about, if you will, kind of the little tweaks and changes.
Because this is what people want to hear.
Yeah, tweaks and changes
what's going to be updated
from last year. How are things going to be different so that the Thunderbirds and the PD and security and PGA, little tweaks we're going to make.
Yeah, we're prepared regardless of the weather, right?
Right.
Well, you touched on one of the big ones earlier, which we kind of knew Saturday afternoon that we were going to change last year. Was the general admission any day tickets. That had been in existence for a long time, and obviously when the event was much smaller, it was easy for fans to be able to just purchase a ticket at the beginning of the week, and then you kind of decide last minute what day you want to go. Well, we've just reached the point that we have to be able to plan for an exact number of people each day. So now there are no more general admission any days. You have to pick your general admission day and buy it in advance. In addition to that, general admission tickets are all fully digital now, so they're electronic tickets. That's going to really make us more efficient at our entrances. It also is going to help because we're going to have better data about our end users. There's a code of conduct that fans have to acknowledge.
Nice.
There is a zero tolerance.
Now, whether they pay attention to the code of conduct,
exactly.
But that's what we're for.
That's right. Yeah, there will be a code of conduct that you guys will be able to enforce.
If your code of conduct is disorderly, we may have you leave. You may get ejected if you're disorderly, or you may go with us in a special pair of bracelets to our little detention facility.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and we've really challenged our Thunderbirds this year. There's a huge contingent of life Thunderbirds and actives that are constantly walking around the golf course, and we've said, look, when you see this type of behavior, grab a PD and say, hey.
Hate to be so cliche, but it's that see something, say something.
Is. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you see a problem, run to it. And so we will be more proactive in that regard this year with the fans. And then the biggest change is we've added another entrance to the golf course. So obviously we still have the main entrance, which people are used to using, and the entrance at Scottsdale Princess, but with this entrance at essentially Frank Lloyd Wright and Hayden, just past that intersection along the Greenway Hayden Loop, we think we've made a really, really impactful change. We've been working with your team to plan that for many months now. There's so much pedestrian traffic that comes in from that direction anyway, and for those fans to now be able to enter the golf course essentially right at the 18th tee, we're really excited about that. And then in addition, as you guys know, it's not just the entrance, but the ability to exit the golf course quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
And have another place for people to quickly, exit the tournament is going to be a huge add. So we're excited about those two things. One other, you mentioned, how far people are now spreading out into the golf course. So we have significantly expanded the Taylor Morrison Fairway House, which is along the 12th hole, the par 3, and then Desert Oasis, which overlooks the 7th hole, the par 3, along with 5 and 6. We have expanded that venue as well.
Nice.
Back there is Little Miss Barbecue and a craft beer garden and a bunch of really cool amenities. And so, what we see is that people come to the golf tournament, everybody goes immediately to the 16th hole. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the time people stand in line at 16 for 6 hours and they never make it in. And so we're adding this year like some average wait time from this point. Like a roller coaster. There's no fast passes that you can buy to get into 16.
That's funny.
But we want to encourage people, don't spend your whole day sitting there doing nothing. Yeah, there's a lot of great places you can go. And so the investment that we've made in Fairway House and in Desert Oasis is really to give people more general admission and amenities that they can go out and enjoy.
That's great. We talked before we started recording that, we had talked in the past about potentially a second main entrance.
Yeah.
And it was great. I think we kind of collectively had not done it yet. And so I think we all looked at it and said, well, let's see, what's the tournament size? How many people are we getting? What's the bottleneck? What's, what the year before was like, when we were building DraftKings, right? And what that looked like and how is that going to impact the opening. So I think it's just shown over the, since 1987, since it came to Scottsdale, just that evolution of we're constantly thinking and planning.
Yes.
What's next?
Right.
How big is it going to get? And what are those things that we can do to really make the experience for the golf lovers and the party lovers and the patrons and the people watchers better and better and better? And
That's right.
I think you made some excellent decisions. And that I think are going to just really, again, lend to that fabric and how well the everybody enjoys themselves in the tournament.
Yeah, we really, we always talk about making the event bigger and better, and we really have made our mantra since the last putt dropped last year of the emphasis this year is just better. Don't worry about bigger, it's just better. Yeah. And it's been nice for us to kind of have, I think, a reprieve from thinking about growth to just thinking about improvements. And so, I think the challenging weather of last year gave us, good reason to make some of these changes that, to your point, I mean, the front entrance, expanding the entrances has been talked about for a long time, having a second entrance. Yeah. But this year gave us a good reason to do it. And I'm really excited because I think filtering the tournament through the lens of fan experience and player experience, I think we've really made impactful changes for both.
That's great. One of the questions that I got, and I put this question off regularly. I don't know if you're getting the same question, but it had been posed to me about implementing a daily max attendance.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten that question a lot, and how I try to explain it, and maybe you think differently and have a different explanation, is when you look at the footprint and the ability to really put a certain number of people in there. Then that becomes a discussion of do you need a daily maximum attendance because the footprint is so big? Have you gotten that question at all?
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny how different people's understanding is of how many people are actually on the golf course. I mean, we know and you guys know, but it's like, I had someone say a couple months ago, well, they heard there were 1 million people there on Saturday. And it's like, there's not 1 million people there during entire
the week.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that some of that is just the perception that people have and kind of the rumor mill. And but yeah, we are constantly obviously monitoring that really with you guys. And Fire is really the people that are making that decision. By removing the any day tickets this year, it gives us the ability to control it exactly to the number. And I'll tell you, something that we've talked about this year is we've set our number of tickets for the week, but we're going to monitor the weather as we get closer. We might release another 5,000 Saturday GA tickets, when we get closer to it. Because some of it is just that flexibility to take into consideration the weather.
Well, people are constantly coming and going from the tournament on the days, so you can't really put a max cap on it because then they're missing out on so much.
I remember when at Super Bowl year, so 2023, I remember getting data from Verizon and
T-Mobile.
It was essentially of the individual number of cell phone hits in the footprint on that Saturday, and it was like 480,000.
Oh my gosh,
and so people are like, there were 480. I said, okay, but it's a day long. There weren't 480 all at the same time period, and so that's where I think some of the numbers will come out, and people are like, there's 1 million. Well, there might be 1 million. Aggregate over the Monday through or Sunday beginning.
Exactly.
Concert, but Sunday to Sunday. But take it easy.
Yeah, just take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's interesting how those perceptions, just kind of take off, and it's monitoring it every day. And then I think exactly to your point. I mean, people are coming and going, and so it's really, I think, where the entrance is going to be most impactful. The new entrance is those peak times, Friday, Saturday. That's really what you're trying to solve for, is those few hours during the middle of each of those days when people are really coming and going at the same time.
What are the Thunderbirds most excited about the changes?
That's a good question. I think probably the entrance. I mean, I think the digital ticket process is going to be big as well. I mean, that's kind of a multi-year process for us to be able to then continue to transition that into our hospitality suites and across the golf course. But to have the ability for people to enter the golf course at essentially the 18th tee, you think about all the hospitality suites on 16, 17, 18 and how much shorter their walk just got if they use that new entrance. So I think that'll be the biggest.
Sweet.
And remember, our listeners out there, when we talk about these numbers, 480 or 150,000 or 200,000, it is such an infinitesimal number that can be disruptive, or that aren't paying attention to the code of conduct on their tickets.
Yeah.
It's such a small number, and I think that's credit to the reputation of the tournament, but it's also, I think, a credit to how we plan that and set that up. I mean, you don't want to be the proverbial turd in the punch bowl now misbehaving, and now you're going away in handcuffs or you're getting thrown out of the tournament.
That's right.
So the 99% of the people who attend the tournament are very well behaved. They have a wonderful time. It's the occasional unruly person.
Well, and I think you forget too that there is a whole golf tournament playing at the same time. So when you're saying that the players are still coming back and they're welcoming, they're excited about it, then that speaks volumes for.
I think there's a lot of people, Allison, though, that don't know a golf tournament is going on there. They're there for the party.
That is true.
They're there for the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is pretty amazing. They're there to hang out.
There's a whole game going on.
It kind of comes down to don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Just don't be that guy. Because there's so much that, and I hope that's one of the reasons that we're going to really try to emphasize the charitable component of this leading into the tournament is because I think some of these people that
forget
that want to kind of ruin this for others are missing the fact that there's a much deeper impact here that they could impact by their negative actions, and it's just not worth it to get us a couple social media clicks. Just don't be that guy.
Just for you are the big guy this year. I mean, just for the thought process of the tournament, it is charitable events. Just remember that the Scottsdale Police Foundation is a 501c3.
There you go.
Can it be a charitable event?
Perfect.
Can we go back to the phrase that you used, Chief? A turd in a punch bowl. I still keep thinking about that. I think it's a swimming pool.
Well, I'm excited, Matt. I know you are. We find ourselves being excited for the tournament to get here, and then when it's here, we're like, okay, I can't wait till it's over.
Right.
And we look at each other afterward, and we're like, wow, another successful year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and excited that it's almost here.
Yeah.
It's almost here.
2 months out.
Hi, I'm Aaron Bowling with Scottsdale PD.
I'm Captain Dave Foley with the City of Scottsdale Fire Department. Aaron, we've got water behind us. It's cold. It gets deep in the middle. Nobody wants to swim in this water, right? We're at the WM Phoenix Open. We have the greatest fans in golf that come out to this event. The greenskeepers behind us, a great party spot. But you'll be arrested if you go in this water, so don't do it.
Yeah, we really want all fans just to stick to those fan areas, whether that's the cart paths or the seating areas. There's plenty of places to go and have a great time while still respecting the players, respecting the game, and respecting each other, and respecting the law.
Yeah, great point. If you want further safety tips, go to Scottsdale Fire and Scottsdale PD, our social media sites.
Now let's get back to today's 4 Reels questions.
Okay.
These aren't unusual.
Okay.
These are just like,
All right.
Oh, great.
how many dimples are on a golf ball?
God, that's a great
I'm gonna
question.
leave that for Matt. He's my golf expert.
We'll just give
I
a
feel like
guesstimate.
Like there's a specific number.
Yes.
I feel like I should know that, and I'm
feel
gonna
like you
guess.
should too.
I'm gonna guess 168.
273.
300 to 400.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was way off.
100.
I don't
was
know that
way
either.
off.
And who counts those?
That's such a good question. I can't believe I was that far off.
Okay. What's the best outfit or golf pants you've seen at the Open? Because there's some good ones.
I love that, the checkered. I like when we wear that crazy checkered out pants.
That like Scottish looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some good American flag pants.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah. I think the high heels in the grass, especially.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
rain,
it's-
that was great.
Yep.
Best golf movie.
Prevalent.
Oh. The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Is that
That's
from
a
the
classic.
80s?
Look at that. Is that from the 80s? No.
No, that's a
Okay,
newer
take
one.
it easy.
I
Will
have,
Smith.
I have to go Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Caddyshack.
Best or worst New Year's resolution? Let's go with worst. What's your worst New Year's resolution? Like, why did you do
Like
that?
in general?
Yeah, like throughout your 500 years in existence.
Yeah.
Why did you
So,
come up with this New Year's resolution? And you're like, that was absurd.
Yeah. I think mine was running I did the PF Chang's half marathon and only the half. And I was just like, I enjoy working out. I don't enjoy running long distance.
Humans shouldn't run.
That was one of those that I was like, and I made the mistake of telling people that I was going to do it. And so then you're really regretting it because you have to keep fighting through the pain.
Mine was, and I told my older brother this, that I was this is a couple years ago, I was going to work on getting a six-pack of abs again. And I realized, how stupid that was because, I like the occasional sweets. Yeah. So I made the mistake of telling him and a couple others, like, hey, how's it going? How's that six-pack going? Well, here's a six-pack, and it was a six-pack from the store. But, yeah.
I like that one better.
Six-pack.
If you could have one superpower at the open, like flying or invisibility or, I don't know, listening in on other people's conversations, what would it be?
Superpower
but
at the open.
But it could only be during the open.
I mean,
and then it goes away.
Invisible would be interesting. That sounds a little creepy, so I'm gonna go flying because
flying would be
walking. Cool. I mean, the number of times I feel like I walked to the 16th hole that week is I didn't wear it last year, but one of those fitness trackers, and it's unbelievable.
It's like
the
Disneyland.
Number of steps. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm gonna steal your first one because I like the invisibility one simply because with that many people there. When I go there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to kind of check out our operations, I'm in a uniform, right?
Yeah,
and when you're
true.
And when you're in the middle of all those people, it's the third time I'm going to be able to say it in this episode is you are the turd in the punch bowl. Everybody is looking at you, and
they immediately change their behavior.
Yes, and so that gets.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
I like to be invisible every once in a while, not seen.
Yeah.
All right, and last one. This is just a best lunch or food during the open, and excluding Toro because we know Toro's great.
Yeah, I mean we have such incredible food partners. M Culinary does most of our catering on the course, and they're amazing. I'm going to give a plug for Little Miss Barbecue because I'm a huge barbecue guy.
Good, I'm gonna have to do that.
And Little Miss Barbecue is out at the Desert Oasis venue, and fans need to check that out if they have not. It's incredible.
We have a command staff luncheon out there was Wednesdays. I think we're doing them Tuesdays now. And I love all of the there are so many cool little finger foods so you can try a lot of different things like street tacos, little burgers. So I don't know. I haven't had anything bad out at the open when I go out there.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
okay, and then go back to the jobs here with the signs. What would you say would be the worst one besides the signs? Before you contracted out everything, was there like a porta potty duty?
I'll tell you, I'll tell you the guys that have the most physical labor is house and grounds. I was not house and grounds. We call them H&G, but the H&G guys are out here. There's a handful of them every year, and they have a trailer set up along the 18th fairway, and they're here pretty much every day for at least a month and a half, meeting the delivery trucks and hanging scrim and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I got to give those guys a shout out.
Are those your newbies or your?
There usually are at least 2 or 3 newbies in that mix. Got to earn your stripes.
All right,
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Allison. Those were good.
Yeah.
And not the usual.
I know, not the tacos or hot dogs or. I tried to be professional on this one, except for you kept saying turn in a punch bowl.
Sorry. My bad.
You know what? Some of those people deserve it.
Yeah, that's right. Matt, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of what I know is incredibly busy for you to hang out with us this morning and record this for release in January prior to the tournament. But it's been great having you.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you guys again for the partnership, and thanks for the laughs. You guys are good at this.
For everybody that's now listening to this, hopefully you had a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year. And in the new year, just remember to do great things, take care of one another, and remember that every day offers to each of us more to be more in the service of others. So take care of one another and do great things out there.
Thank you for listening to episode 38. Please make sure you follow us on all the socials @ScottsdalePD.